Go, bud. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Strange Happenings. Bub, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. We got a great show for you guys. I'm Mikey, as always, the bro host, Bub Brandley.
Hello.
Today we have Stoner hitting all the wizardly magical buttons, and it seems as of lately, the sidekick, the bro, Matt Disbro, back there, making everything sound amazing for us.
He's dialing it in.
So we are super appreciative of those guys. We want to, thank everybody. We got some flutzes in the chat. What's up, man?
Hey. What's happening?
This episode, we didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot about East Palestine. Towards the end of the UAP special we did last week, we touched on it a little bit, but it was definitely UAP focused. So we have a little update on East Palestine and some updates with the UFO, UAP sightings, and UAPs being shot down last week. But we got a great show for you guys. And as always, we want to shout out new YouTube subscribers, new followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then all the folks listening and all the people subscribing, liking, sharing, everything that we're doing here. We appreciate the heck out of all of you. Thank you guys so much. And, we do have some ratings that have popped up. We've been
ratings. Oh yeah.
On the audio side of things, we've got some people that have rated us, and you
getting some chatter.
We have asked, and now we have received. So thank you guys all for continue to hit that 5 stars for us. But we've got a great show today. Is there anything else that I missed, Bob?
If you want shout outs, I've got shout outs.
Yeah,
I can give you some names. So we got
Let's
Adam Brandemill, Cutlass, like the car, Cryptic Crystal, Falcon, Donkey Punch.
Yes.
Kathy Hossel, Aaron Driver, and that's the newest ones. Oh, yeah, Enigma Seeker jumped on there today. Met him on Twitter in some spaces with another character, Third Eye Seeks, which when I say character, I mean that because he reminds me of like a real-life Indiana Jones. So
right.
If you're on Twitter, check him out. Check out Enigma Seeker as well. You can probably just follow The Strange Road as well if you want, because I follow all of them, so they're all kind of in the channel. But as far as analytics, I got like the top 8 countries.
Yeah.
U.S., United Kingdom, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Japan, Germany, and Singapore.
Awesome.
And if we dive into the U.S. and we do the same, Ohio, California, Texas, New York, Washington, no R, Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania.
Strong states. Those are some strong people representing the Strange Road. I'm excited about that.
There's some wild numbers going on. It's cool.
You know what? I can mention new Facebook group.
Hey, there you go.
Members, as well.
Fire in the hole.
Jared, Andy. We have my sis Cindy. We have Vicky Boy, Kevin, Christy, Michelle Hickman, long lost cousin, by the way. One of my biological family members that I had found. She reached out after the Amel, the Lovia episode.
Gotcha.
And was affected by that episode, as I think a lot of us were, and had reached out, and we kind of chatted a little bit, and we didn't realize that each other, we were into similar things. So really cool to have that connection. We got Neil Stoner, that'd be AKA Papa Stoner, of course. So we thank anybody that's hopping in the Facebook group. You guys are all appreciated. Well, Bub, you want to start kicking this thing off?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, I can start off with the we're just some updates.
Dive in.
Talking about East Palestine and the train derailment and some of the tomfoolery unfolding as we speak. This disaster, we're not too far from it, but, it really does seem like some of the media, you're not hearing a whole lot about it on mainstream media. A lot of it's, Twitter's blowing up, Reddit. You have people, in Substacks, writing and talking about this online. So things are kind of coming out a little bit slowly, it seems, and Biden, some people were upset because he took a trip to Ukraine on President's Day. A lot of people think that he should have went to East Palestine. You're going to have that. That trip was probably planned for a while.
Yeah, who knows?
But he still has not made a trip to East Palestine, from what I understand. East Palestine, sorry. And then, you have some updates with, the videos of the water and some of the chemicals that people are taking a stick and just, moving around the silt in the bottom of creek beds, and just you see the chemicals just coming out.
Writing.
So a lot of things rolling out with, townspeople, people that live in the surrounding counties. We did have a journalist last week that was arrested by the Ohio State Highway Patrol.
Pretty wild.
Governor DeWine says that he did not order anyone to be arrested.
Is that the guy that got arrested for just walking on the road type deal that I keep seeing on Twitter?
Well,
they said they thought he was breaking into things or breaking into houses or cars, or
right.
They framed it that way.
So a lot of people have kind of come out, and that he's going to go to court. Whether or not he gets anything from it, but they have appointed a judge for that case. And so I have a feeling those charges will obviously be dropped. It's not a good look for
but it still impedes his ability to do his journalistic duty.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about it. Like, it's a dick move either way.
Yep. Totally agree.
I mean, I don't know.
Yep. Absolutely agree.
It always makes me think of the whole thing, we tell children, like, tell the truth. Like, honesty is the best policy. And I always joke, like, when you get older, you're like, give me a lawyer. I have money. I'm going to pay my way out of this.
Right.
That's all it is. It's a paid argument as an adult in a court system, which, granted, we need it for certain things. But what I'm saying is when it's abused, like, again, you try to instill that whole moralistic aspect into kids. And then when you get older, you just see it like you rode in front of you. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Is that just to, like, make people schmucks that don't understand that the game is rigged that way in a certain sense?
Yeah.
It's like, money talks, baby.
Yeah, speaking of money.
Money talks.
So a couple people have posted and talked about, a good point was made that a lot of people were upset with Biden, Governor DeWine, and Buttigieg, and what FEMA's doing or not doing and all these things. And it feels like that's a bit of a scale. Although they do have... There has to be something moving forward from on the political side. J.D. Vance has been down there from Ohio,
right?
Doing a lot of videos and so forth. But really, it's kind of taken the focus off of Norfolk Southern in a lot of ways, and their capability of.
What do you mean? Taking the focus off? What the focus on?
All the political banter going back and forth. All of the Joe Biden should have went.
You think nobody's focusing on the train itself?
The company.
Well, the
Norfolk Southern.
That's the company that owns the train, or owns the train tracks, or
the company that all these chemicals were being carried by is Norfolk Southern.
That's the train company.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Are they the ones shipping the chemicals?
Yes.
Are they the company that owns the trains?
Yes.
So they have to. Okay, so they should be keeping up on the maintenance of the trains or the train tracks, or.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can see by the videos the sparks underneath the train. They have cameras that are... Yeah.
Go ahead. Everything's fine there.
Speaking of that, they said the EPA has stepped in and has claimed that the air is safe, the water is safe, everybody can move back.
Wow.
There's, everything's, hey, let's go back to normal here. So, you talk about...
It's like a modern day Milgram's experiment. As long as the authority tells you it's okay, keep shocking the patient that you hear screaming in the booth because, you have the authority telling you it's okay. Like, I think people are kind of like starting to go, I don't think I believe you anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? In a lot of senses, it's fool me once, shame on me.
Yeah.
I think people are tired of getting fooled.
Yeah, and again, any situation, you follow the money. Mm-hmm. So Norfolk Southern, the company, the train company, like I said, isn't getting a ton of focus and media attention for, what role they played. Are they culpable? There's already a lot of class action lawsuits that are already being formed with townspeople.
Should be.
There's chickens and there's a fox farm where all the foxes are sick.
I can't even watch it. And not that I don't believe it. It just it breaks my heart.
The water.
I can't watch it.
The water tables and those runs and creeks are just like you said.
There have to be pets also. Not that the foxes and
chickens dying.
I mean,
fish dying
sure
in
people's animals or dogs and cats are also
they're
either
getting hit.
Not going outside or they're getting sick.
Yep.
And possibly people.
So
Haven't heard a lot about that.
Who's really responsible? I mean, you're not hearing about a lot of things on, mainstream media, because I'd seen a post where someone had pointed out the top 10, the shareholders, the top 10 shareholders of Norfolk Southern are the top 10 shareholders in the largest media conglomerates as well.
Right.
So, you have a lot of big hedge fund interests that are involved with, owning massive shares in Norfolk Southern. And, not a good look for their stock price at this point. Stoner pointed out to me that there's actually 1,700 train derailments a year in America. And so, why do we not hear about this? These companies they have a bottom line, profit margins to protect.
For sure.
And you're just not going to hear about this kind of stuff until, boom, a giant catastrophe like this happens. Then it's like, oh, well, geez, there was 1,700. I feel bad for not knowing there were 1,700 train derailments across the country.
You know what?
Could have been in our little town.
You know what? The other 1,700 train derailments were probably just a ticker on the bottom of the news line.
If that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't get enough attention like this. Maybe they weren't carrying hazardous materials, Have you ever seen the videos of the train yards? I want to say in California, maybe Oakland. I don't know where at. But people basically can hop on them when they're going by, and they just start looting them. And it's basically just like this giant, like almost like landfill, crazy Mad Max Thunderdome wasteland.
Right.
But there'll be, a boxcar with TVs, and TVs are getting taught. Like,
yep.
But that also gets on the tracks too, like stuff that they don't want, or if it falls or gets. So there's all this weird stuff where you think, man, like, I don't know, it's mind-boggling.
Yep.
To destroy something that, I don't know.
In the shipping
Not
containers,
saying that's all the reasons.
What they're marking containers as, semis driving down the road. You have these special markings.
Oh, yeah, you see them.
And
stay away.
With all the different chemicals, and there's numbers associated and attached to those. And
when they have the skull
on it, a lot
of
people are saying that they're being pushed through as water containers, that they're non-toxic, non-chemical. So there's people on Twitter posting photos, videos of actual these D85 whatever, the code to super toxic chemicals being pushed through as essentially containing
labeling it
water.
as water.
So they don't have to go through all the bureaucratic red tape. When you're going through, you got to have all of these licenses, everything registered.
It's like the stock market self-reporting,
So it's
short positions.
To move stuff across the country is probably a big pain in the butt for these big companies that are in this chemical industry.
It should
be. And they're trying to so a lot of that kind of stuff because of this is starting to come out, which is just something you don't think about. I mean, you're driving down the road, you got your family, and then you're driving next to this semi truck trailer full of these, these giant cylindrical trailers with who knows what the hell's in those, man. You one of those goes down and you're just so happen to be there.
You might be in trouble.
And they're telling you that it's supposed to be water in there. That affects the routes that they can take. Anyways, I don't want to go too far deep into this, but we really, really feel terrible for everything that's happening in East Palestine. And
I can't imagine if that was here and it even being close. It's just like, yeah, you feel terrible for people because what are you supposed to do? Like, where are they supposed to go?
Yep.
What if you don't have family somewhere else? What if you don't have the funds to relocate and stay in a hotel or move or get? It's absurd. Like it's wild. I would be. I don't know what I would be. I think I'd be very upset and probably wouldn't know what to do.
Right. Justin Lamb says he listened to the AI and Kill the Mockingbirds podcast.
Oh,
they
wow.
were saying the same thing.
Nice.
Interesting. Trucks were not labeled correctly. So I know those boys follow Twitter and are definitely tapped in as well. And some of the Kill a Mockingbird stuff has got some of this stuff on my radar, some of their posts.
Right.
And I started kind of digging in a little bit deeper. So appreciate the heck out of those guys.
Yeah.
We had a video that I was going to roll on this video on Twitter, but we can move on. I think.
You good?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think most people have, had their fair share. It's always good to shed light on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to give you guys an update on everything happening here in Ohio, unfortunately.
Yeah. Try to stay current with some things, especially things of that nature.
Yep.
But yeah, outside
You
of
wanna hop
that,
in?
yeah, we threw together some wild stuff
Yeah,
today.
dude, for sure.
I don't even really know where I came across some of this stuff, but this first article comes from a Substack written by Bruce Fenton, and if you're listening and don't know who Bruce Fenton is, you can listen to Earth Ancients. I think he's still associated with that podcast. He's a pretty good researcher,
Yep.
investigative journalist, etc. But this story is kind of wild, so I came across it that I got to go over this. So the title is Extraterrestrial Technology Hidden in the Archaeological Records? And
Really?
right, and so I kind of boiled the article down to just get to the meat and potatoes of it and kind of give you some scaffolding of, why he believes this. So Bruce believes that the Aboriginal people of Australia are in possession of an ancient alien technology, basically. And I say basically because we'll get to the heart of it later on in this little article, but he takes this position based off an interview with Bob Lazar that occurred on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast on episode 1315,
Familiar.
along with a story from Central Australia that comes from I'm going to have to try to say this name correctly, Arrernte, Arrernte. All I can think is Arrernte people. So we'll talk about them later again. So we're all familiar with Bob Lazar, right? As far as his historical significance, UFO community at large, his kind of, opening the lid on Area 51 and George Knapp back in that day as well. Kind of bringing ufology at large really to the forefront and, got kind of wild from that point on.
Right.
Bob's had some credibility issues in the past, but what he's not has, unwavering from his story, which we've kind of talked about before, is why we think he's kind of a more reliable witness and testimonial than most.
Every year that goes by, Bob Lazar has something that he said in the 80s that is like,
Hold the line.
crap.
Yeah.
Bob Lazar talked about that.
Yeah, the hand scanner.
The hand scanner's a big one.
Yep.
The hand scanner's an odd one. And then all of a sudden an image of that scanner pops up 20 years later. And he's like, yeah, that's what literally Bob Lazar talked about. Yep.
Yeah.
George Knapp, dude, he's way ahead. Like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are just got to be in absolute heaven right now with this stuff.
Yeah, they're actually. It's
And
funny
we're
you
gonna
say
get to
that.
that.
Well, it's funny you say that because they're kind of heavily laced throughout this.
Yeah.
Even in later articles, but
Yeah.
So, the part of Bob's story that Bruce really kind of ties into is the part where Bob gives his opinion on how the alleged alien craft came into the military hands. Right, like the craft he was working with at Area 51.
biological UFO.
I don't know if it might have been biological. Not so much what kind of craft it was, but how they got it, where they got it, when
Yeah.
they got it, et cetera.
It's an archaeological dig, right?
Right. So Bob in his account says the U.S. military didn't get it from Roswell or another story of a downed alien craft. And then I took the actual quotes between Rogan and Lazar from the episode. And so Joe says, have you ever asked anyone that has any inkling of any idea of where they got them or how they got them? So he's talking about UFOs and working at Area 51. Bob says, no, but something must have been said to me from Barry, and I don't know who Barry is. But it was just too long ago, and I can't remember what was said, but it just left a seed in my mind. I think at least one of them was part of an archaeological dig. So it's old. Something, at least one of them is old. I don't know if it was the one I worked on, but I remember something to do with an archaeological dig. And
Wow.
Rogan says, whoa. So Lazar is, it says, so, that means it's ancient. And Rogan says that'd make a great Spielberg movie. And what they go on to say is, yeah, that'd make a great discovery, and maybe that's where it came from. Where would this potential site be? They don't really go into extrapolate on that. What Bruce does as he goes on through the article is he says, okay, we're going to take Bob's part of the story and say the craft is from an ancient site, and I'm going to go with that theory and kind of extrapolates out his own different story. So he doesn't really kind of keep dialing in on whether the craft of Bob Lazar. So the story kind of keeps going to where Bruce talks about, different planets and different alien species and how they might connect and try to talk to us. He imagines a planet with purple kangaroos that have like 2 stars and these crystal towers that shoot messages in the sky. And then there's other civilizations that have built rockets. And, the one civilization he talks about, he theorizes, okay, this is just a hypothesis and kind of a fantasy, but there's a civilization much like us. There's a crew, they get on the rocket, they blast off. The planet sees this happen, great. What they don't realize is the life support system in the rocket has failed. That planet doesn't realize that crew is just going off now, and it's just kind of a dead cargo. But that ship is still carrying, right? So he starts imagining all these different things in different ways. And what they start to realize is, we start thinking about, how do we want to explore our solar system? How would you get there? Would you send people at first? And no, we send probes. And so other aliens or extraterrestrial civilizations or whatever you want to say probably send something of that nature. Now, maybe it's something we can't recognize. Maybe it just doesn't look like anything we would think it should look like. But what he goes on to say is his most likely assumption of where he thinks anything like this could have happened is in Australia. And the reason that he says that is he says...
they're ancient people, man.
Yeah.
Like some of the genomes that are being looked at right now, the Aboriginal people their people have been around for untold thousands of years.
They're widely considered one of the first people. They have the whole story of the dream time. And how there was no existence or universe. I'm paraphrasing,
trippy.
and I don't know it down to the syllable, but
yeah,
they have some really long-standing history with kind of having some, I won't say woo, but they have
didgeridoo alone is pretty wild. Like the for them to invent such an incredible instrument, that's probably been around for thousands of years.
Right.
Didgeridoo.
Right. The devices and probes that he talks about come from a professor, and they're known as like Bracewell probes, basically. So that's paraphrasing there again. But I kind of just want to get to Bruce's part where he talks about, here we go. So Bruce doesn't argue that there are, alien probes that could possibly be out there. But he takes it a step further. So he says, okay, I'm willing to go with you on there could be alien probes that could be out there. The solar system as we know it, or galaxy, or I don't even know what it is it the universe entirely is 4.5 billion years old?
Yeah.
So in that timeline, we've been here very young. If there are probes, sure, they could have been sent out. They could have reached us when dinosaurs are here. They could have reached us at any point in time in his timeline, right? Mm-hmm. Given that there could have been civilizations for 1 billion years and sent it here and whatever. Mm-hmm. So he starts talking about it, and he says, it is equally valid to consider the potential for some AI probes to be left on planetary surfaces. If an alien race wanted to leave open the potential for us to make contact with their sentinel, placing it at a ground level certainly makes it more accessible. It's possible that humans have already encountered a sentient alien probe and attained some level of contact. An obscure account of this event appears in the anthropological literature. So this comes from the story about this Aboriginal group in Australia. So the Chiringa is a highly sacred object associated with the Arrernte people of Central Australia. Taboo exists around both physically handling and looking directly at these artifacts. Over the years, some have ended up on public display. They are typically smooth, carved oval stones a few inches long. Usually both sides of the Chiringa are engraved, most often with some combination of concentric circles and other geometric patterns. The Arrernte's dreaming lore is very complex, but what can be reasonably summarized here is that the first Chiringa was left by powerful, non-human entities in the distant creation time. These Al-Chiringa beings even had a role in the creation of humans and left behind the first Chiringa. This was no ordinary artifact. Actually, it was itself an Al-Chiringa being with an impermeable form that held a living repository of accessible knowledge. The Chiringa, possibly there was more than one, they say, was carefully stored in a remote cave. The only people that had access were fully initiated male elders, It was not touched or even looked directly upon by anyone but these guardians. People feared and respected the spirit of the Chiringa so much that they naturally kept their distance anyway. Over the millennia, copies were made, and these were considered just as sacred as the originals. So this is where he starts talking about it, like, so there's this story from this Aboriginal tribe. It's a stone, but it's quoted as being it is a actual Alcharinga, or a essence of a being. I don't know how to put that any better.
Right.
In a stone, or a artifact that, and I was saying to
Is
Kyle,
holding like the consciousness of some
the living
being,
repository.
spirit. Yeah.
That might have the whole history of the entire.
Maybe that was like the beginning of like relics, like holy relics. You know, that religious people, they want to track down like a little piece of the cross.
Right.
You know, maybe it goes back to like a crystal, some technology that we don't understand. That's
right.
Yeah.
Well, so I was thinking of, even the
Hey, Ronin Arts, what's
Indiana Jones, latest movie with the crystal skull, and
Yeah.
that theory that they, hold knowledge and are some kind of like data storage, or energy storage, or something we don't even understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's just like, what do we do with it? But Kyle and I were talking about it earlier, and I was like, well, we've sent probes out that have, the gold discs on them with Carl Sagan had inscribed, I don't even know what, some songs, and had like language and probably mathematics, and just like some kind of form of like, we're sending this probe out anyway. If anybody comes across it, maybe put a couple instructions on there, kind of references to like us.
Right.
What is a paracasal technology? I can't say that, Ronan Art. What is a paracasal technology? I'm butchering that. Paracasal?
I've never heard of it. We'll have to
you have to get back to me on the chat with that one. Yeah. So that's really the rest of it on that one. Bruce kind of, I've listened to a lot of his work on Earth Ancient, so I know he's a pretty deep investigator. He sounds fairly skeptical most of the time, so it's just kind of really cool piece. Well,
that's cool. He can tie it into an actual human culture,
right?
With the Aboriginals, and what a better culture that would actually have some sort of story or history than the Aboriginals.
It's part of their. I've heard that's the cultural side of that before, of them kind of saying it, like I paraphrased earlier. There wasn't anything. We like dreamt the world into consciousness, dreamt everything into existence.
Right. The universe is mental.
Everything was just a dream state earlier.
Right.
It's really, it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, maybe I should dig more there. Let's say no update on that.
You want to do the next one?
Yeah. The next one we got is I think this is pronounced Mosul, the Mosul Orb, and the U.S. silent.
Mosul. Yeah.
The U.S. is silent on UFO filmed by the military over Iraq. This was published on February 18th of this year by Chris Eberhardt. And
now, it was filmed in 2016, from what I understand. This happened in 2016.
That could be. I was just saying this was just published this year.
They're talking about all this stuff that I like how it's uncovering.
Well, it's starting
stuff
to pull
from
it
the
back.
past. Because these big events happen. It's like, hey, by the way, in 2016, we shot this.
Right. We forgot to mention
UAP.
We had a whole bunch of these, Yeah.
Anyways,
you wanted to know about that?
Well, guess what? Here you go. Here's Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah. So in the article, they go on to say the mysterious object is believed to be the first military recorded UAP in a conflict zone that was released to the public. So the first time we're seeing a UFO/UAP in a military setting. We don't have evidence of this before.
Man, those colonels had to be freaking out.
Right. And so they say it was a metallic-looking orb that was filmed by a U.S. military spy plane in an active conflict zone. Department of Defense has declined to answer any questions about it. Not a shocker. The clip was recorded, as Mike's saying, by the reconnaissance plane going over Mosul, Iraq, in April of 2016. And the image was released by Jeremy Corbell, as we talked about earlier, the investigative journalist and documentary filmmaker, along with George Knapp. Jeremy, interestingly enough, in the article, I say he was the only civilian named during Congress's historic UAP hearing in May of 2022.
Just last year.
So that's pretty impressive. The clip was actually released on the weaponizedpodcast.com along with George Knapp, who George, again, tying back to Bob, and then Bob and George
is
and
old
Jeremy
school,
and Bob getting
the original Skinwalker Ranch guy.
Right.
He was
Colin
the man.
Kelleher.
He was the man.
But then Jeremy kind of
took the torch.
searched
He
out
started
Bob.
bugging the hell out of George Knapp
He wanted
and
to talk
Bob
to
Lazar.
Bob.
He is what better guy, because Jeremy, he does
Yeah.
not lack enthusiasm, dude.
No,
And he's
no.
a pit bull. He
Yeah.
wants to know.
Go get it.
Go get it. Thanks,
get
dude.
it.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
I'm all about it. And those guys make a great team, George Knapp, and you got like the old school and the new blood.
Right. Well, that's passing. That's what we do
But where they work together.
historically. But passing that information on that apprenticeship, maybe we don't even call it apprenticeship anymore.
Right.
But there definitely is a. Apologies. Okay, pair casualty. So if Jeremy and George Knapp don't release this, we don't see this probably. It was, obviously something that was not meant to get out to the public. But the issue at hand, they say, with this image is the possible scenarios involved that relate to the U.S. UFO or UAP being in an active conflict zone. And the way that Corbell kind of puts it, he says, as you know, we are shooting things down over the United States of America now without really identifying them before we shoot them down. And also says, if we don't know whose craft it is, maybe we get into crossfire situations, and then you're getting into, we shot you down accidentally trying to shoot that down because nobody knew who's.
Hey, nuclear war right around the corner.
It's kind of like having a voyeur when you don't really want one because nobody's like, hey, who knows that person? Mm-hmm. So maybe it's throwing a wrinkle in the military complex. I don't know. But there was a quote from Biden who said the origins of the three objects are still unknown. He also added and stated that he believed they were not most likely from, he said they were most likely from private entities, not related to China or other surveillance operations.
The private entities
getting
thing,
pushed hard.
You're starting to see that, dude.
Yeah.
And what did we talk about? We talked about these big government contractors, all the whispers of breakaway technology and stuff they've been developing forever.
Right.
Since probably during World War II with Operation Paperclip and all the other shady stuff we were doing, taking, scientists and bringing them on board and developing NASA and everything else.
Right.
So if, these companies just continue to keep developing more and more technology, it's probably private entities, private corporations up there.
It could be.
I mean,
It definitely could be. Look at Bob Bigelow. Maybe he made them.
right. Absolutely. I mean, to the Star
I'm not saying he
Academy.
did, but there's a lot of people that could be putting a balloon up. Hell, Hobby Lobby apparently put
Well,
one of
they're
them
not
up.
balloons, right? Everybody keeps saying balloon. They're not
The
balloons.
one
The
I think-
Chinese balloon was that was a balloon.
I thought Hobby Lobby confirmed the one. I swear I saw an article about them saying, yeah, one of those was ours with a ham radio. But the other ones were big payloads or bigger payloads.
Yeah, the octagon-shaped one, the
Right.
capsule-shaped one. Anyways, continue.
Right. So this part I thought it was interesting too is Department of Defense spokesperson Susan Goff declined to answer several questions from Fox News when reached by phone on Wednesday. She said, quote, "We have nothing further to say. We will not be discussing intelligence-related matters." So,
Oh, and by the way, they haven't been able to recover any of the debris at all in all three sites.
yeah.
Just so happens that, unrecoverable, all three sites. They've recovered. I mean, we saw those weird videos of that basically looks like a flying saucer being truckloaded out, on a semi.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strange videos like that out there.
Right. Well, at the end of this one, they do say about the objects that were shot down. They said they were, substantially different in size from the Chinese spy balloon. One was shaped more closely to a balloon-like object, and the other two were the size of an ATV. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
ATV's not tiny, unless you have a really small.
There it is. There's a photo.
The Mosul Orb. I mean,
And that's a satellite image, correct?
no,
Where the orb was
that's
just
being flown over. I thought
captured.
isn't it? No, it's a spy plane.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a spy plane. Yeah. I don't know if there's a video associated with it. They
No,
said
there's
something like there's a 4-second clip, and I'm like, are we really going to get that much out of a 4-second clip? Unless you saw it just like speed off in real time. I don't know. So we're seeing more balloons, right? Again, there was one off the coast of Hawaii, I guess, recently now too.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have even more credible video or photographs coming out from our own government, albeit they didn't want it out. Why now? Why now? What's happening?
Well, they're not talking about anything anymore. So
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's
it's
like,
all real hush hush.
we
Like,
know
boom,
where it's
boom,
at.
boom, and now it's like, oh, there's
go
nothing,
get it. Right.
It's not. We haven't recovered anything. It's impossible. We're up in Michigan. The weather is not permitting. I'm like, you guys have bases in Antarctica and in the Arctic. Go get some Carhartts and some Patagonia gear and get your butt up there.
Get yourself a toboggan.
And go recover some craft. But of course, we know that the
bring a stick of butter.
Have been recovered.
Put a waffle in your back pocket and get going.
Yeah. Hey, some hand warmers. I mean, come on.
Maybe I would probably put a double pair of socks on.
Just one pair of nice wool socks.
There you go. But yeah, so that's the Mosul Orb story, which again I thought was really cool.
Killing it.
Yeah. This next article was a stoner edition, The Wizard. And this one actually comes from The Guardian, and this is by Toby Thomas. What a great alliterative name. On the 17th of this fine month, so just a few days ago. And the headline reads pretty wild. Discovery of 4,500-year-old palace in Iraq may hold key to ancient civilization. Sumerian Lord Palace of the Kings found in archaeological collaboration with the British Museum. So in the article it states, it has been described by the director of the British Museum as one of the most fascinating sites he has ever visited. But the archaeologist who led the discovery of the lost Sumerian temple in the ancient city of Gursu has said he was accused of making it up and wasting funding. Where have we heard that before? Hear that quite often before it becomes fact. You get a lot of detractors and naysayers because maybe he's rewriting history a little bit. So Dr. Sebastian Ray led the project that discovered the 4,500-year-old palace in modern-day Iraq, thought to hold the key to more information about one of the first known civilizations. The Lord Palace of the Kings of the ancient Sumerian city Gursu, now located in Tello, southern Iraq, was discovered during fieldwork last year. Alongside the ancient city, more than 200 cuneiform tablets were discovered, containing administrative records of the ancient city. So this reminds me of when I took classes a couple summers ago studying about Greek history, and, you know, this kind of fits along with archaeological digs in those sites as well. You find most often the first things they were cataloging were things they needed. How much grain do we have? How much this? How much time do we have? You know, that was one of the first things we kind of became obsessed with when we could really control food and not have to hunt or gather, but we could control our own crops. So I thought that was interesting. Ray also said that when he first brought up the project at international conferences, no one believed him. Everyone basically told me, oh, no, you're making it up. You're wasting your time. You're wasting British Museum UK government funding. That's what they were telling me, he said. So just a little food for thought. All the detractors who are telling you you're crazy, well,
there's an agenda there.
Maybe they're telling you that because they don't get you, and maybe you're just running out ahead of them, you know?
That doesn't fit the paradigm, so...
Yeah, you know, a lot of
easy
people...
to call people crazy and nuts and pseudoscientists, you know.
There are people that discover things, and there are other people that hear about things that other people discover.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't have somebody out there going and making discoveries, we wouldn't figure anything out.
And then 20 years later, it comes out that they were right the whole time.
Right, and we need to be better about recognizing that and using the scientific method like we've always been taught of. If somebody brings something to you and you can duplicate the results, guess what? That proves it.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's offering you geological studies, or if he's offering you archaeological pieces that you could then date in time, and, you know, it's not hard to figure it out. So how you get detractors like that, it's like...
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of work.
Yep.
To try to fool people today.
It's a lot. Yeah, people...
It'd be a lot.
They're still trying real hard.
Well,
real hard.
So it goes on to say, Gursu, one of the earliest known cities in the history of humankind, was built by the ancient Sumerians, who between 3,500 and 2000 BC invented writing, built the first cities, and created the first codes of law. The ancient city was first discovered 140 years ago, but the site has been the target of looting and illegal excavations.
Yeah. Tomb robbers.
Yeah. But they did know about the city before they found it. It was in inscriptions. So there again,
Like Troy.
we can take historical text and we can say, I know there's a lot of talk about Atlantis right now
a
and the
fabled-
Rishat structure. And
Yeah.
Is it Rishat or
Rickot.
Rickot?
I think so.
I've heard it
Rickard.
both ways, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like bruschetta and bruschetta. That's literally,
I'm a bruschetta guy.
bruschetta is the real way to say
Is
it.
it? Well,
yeah.
I'm saying it wrong.
messed up.
And I'm
I
not
know.
changing it. I'm bruschetta.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
I'm bruschetta till I die.
Tomato, but.
Hey,
Brah,
bro.
So they said, we knew about it from inscriptions. The Sumerians inhabited the ancient eastern Mediterranean region of Mesopotamia, and were responsible for many technological advancements, including measurements of time as well as writing. Most of the article after that is just kind of a summary of the Sumerian culture and history itself, so I'm not going to detract into that too much. I just, again, I keep thinking this we're going to drop this bucket one week into the Strange Happenings articles and nothing's going to come up. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
I feel like the guy from Jaws where I'm like, we're going to need a bigger boat. Richard Dreyfuss when he sees Jaws.
Oh, right. Yeah, we
That's
can
how I
only
feel.
cover 5 articles in an hour time. And
Hey, Necro says,
I know.
Did you see that? Is
Is
that real Necro or are you just messing with me?
Just a BB. I mean, it looks like that.
Could be.
I mean, it's something that
but the
somebody
only-
just shoots to.
But the only thing is a spy plane doesn't fly low. Unless
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
up there.
Usually they're way up there. Like U-2 spy
he's
plane
saying
used to fly.
They're on a small plane.
Yeah.
It's like, just kidding. Just kidding.
God damn. You had me going for a minute there. I was like,
Who
geez.
knows, though? I mean, if they're going to fake it's part of Blue Beam, it's a BB. I believe it. Hey, there's Rolo.
Rolo's-
Oh, we forgot to tell everybody.
Oh.
Rolo's got a lower third.
Strange dog.
Sleepy dog.
Strange
Jesus.
dog.
And, best dog in the whole world. Doesn't do a whole lot. He's not going to be the best security force in the home. He licks
do a
the
whole
mailman, the FedEx guy, the UPS guy. I've never had a dog
Wow.
that literally loves everybody.
Your dog
Some are
is the
used to
yin to my
want to
yang.
kill the postal worker,
Same
the
with my
FedEx.
dog.
I shouldn't say that. It's
Well,
probably
not kill,
But yeah, just
protect the home.
yeah. She wanted to just the hair on the back of her neck would stand up. She'd hear that UPS truck go by and just this dog don't do nothing. Just bark when someone comes up on the front porch or something, at least, dude. Bozo. That's what my dad calls him, Bozo.
So funny. How do you train your dog to bark? Would you?
Just
I'd say
make a yip or something
You
when
need
I
to get
know
one of
somebody's
the-
on our property.
you need to get him one of those sound pads.
Yeah.
Where have you seen these? The dog can step on a
clip-
button and it'll be like food.
There we go.
Water.
Yeah.
Just teach him. Just have a sound pad button that when the mailman's there, it'll be like he steps on it and it'll bark and it'll come across the speaker. Like he won't bark, but
Right.
he'll.
I need to get a robo dog, man in the clouds. That's right.
There you
I
go.
just need a robo dog and program it exactly. All right, we're getting way off track. You got something left with this article? Go a little deeper.
Not really.
Okay,
Not really.
but yeah, we had a comment about the Anunnaki Palace. That is the origins of the Anunnaki. We talk about Enlil, Enki. These civilizations just kind of pop up. With bringers of knowledge and these long kings lists and. We're going to continue to keep building on this story. And it's going to be like a flood where the information that's coming out is just too hard. It's going to be too hard to hold back. The dam's going to break. And
You think so?
I think in about 10 years, we're going to have a lot better understanding of.
Can I just say I always thought on the X-Files, Scully and Mulder would get there.
Yeah.
I don't ever really feel like they got there.
Well, because then the episodes would have to end and there'd be no show.
No, it ended.
It ended, but it leaves the mystery open
That's what I'm
for
saying.
another to bring back.
They did do a season a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like a 6-season or
Yeah.
a 6-episode season.
Right.
Big fan. But what I'm saying is, I don't know that we're ever gonna know. I hate to say that.
Well, we're going to have a better understanding.
I feel like a Browns
I'm
fan
saying
waiting
is
on a Super Bowl appearance.
the things right now that they're
Not that
really
they
trying to
haven't- no, they
hold
haven't been
back.
there. Yeah.
in terms of timelines.
Right.
I think all that's going to start just. Come on, dude. Seriously, you can't continue this narrative of everything we found out in 1840 is still, what we know about Egypt. A lot of this information is from the 1800s that they're teaching in universities.
Right.
It's the first initial archaeological discoveries of these guys that didn't have high-end laser technology to scan geometry, or we've been talking about AI, artificial intelligence, scanning cuneiform tablets in the past. LiDAR that are discovering Mayan kingdoms all over the Guatemalan jungle. It's like, dude, the technology is not going to be able to hold what's really, at least in... We'll look back and be like, boy, that was a joke. They were trying to hold all this stuff back.
Do you think we're going to look
back? What
a
joke.
You think we'll feel like we're living in the 1800s right now?
I mean, I think every generation kind of goes through that.
I mean, in a correlatory way of like looking at now versus if we go from horses to cars, and then people go from cars to UFO spaceships, like we literally get spaceships and we become interplanetary, intergalactic.
Right.
Like that is like looking at us right now.
Yeah.
Like we are in the 1800s, if not further back.
In terms of consciousness evolution, we're in the dark
Everything,
ages
like
still.
intelligence level elevation, like
Yeah, I mean, we're smart, but we're intelligent, and we know how to make really cool stuff with technology, with what our technology is, electronics, microchips.
Yeah.
That vein of technology, not necessarily like what Amel's talking about and what VJ talks about, sound vibrational technology.
I think there are people that
and what,
probably
Randall
are aware.
Carlson's getting a lot of crap right now because this episode didn't air on Joe Rogan.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that he kind of dropped, that people are like, what's going on with this episode? Why didn't it come out? Why is Rogan holding it back? Did Randall align himself with some folks that might be feeding him a line of bull? I don't really know. But it was all about this, like they're saying, this technology
Right.
of an advanced, like Bruce Fenton's talking about. This technology that I think we will actually rediscover.
Well, we did hear some wild, wild stuff during the Iraq-Afghanistan war of like finding stargates or
raiding
finding
the museums,
crashed UFO. I mean,
Yeah.
on some very fringy websites, so I would not take it as gospel by any means.
and that was early 2000s websites too.
But one of the things,
Disclose.tv was a good one.
and this is going to sound really stupid, but not everybody, but if you've seen the movie The Men in Black, and when Will Smith buys the newspapers, or not Will Smith, but Tommy Lee Jones buys like the Inquirer and all these stupid, publications that are all just a joke, like Mad Magazine.
But then it all ends up being real.
My husband's skin was taken by, and he's like, right there. And he's like, what the heck? He's like, these are the hot papers. He's like, a lot of that stuff is kind of right there in front of you, but people don't believe it type thing. Mm-hmm. If somebody came out and said it.
We're programmed not to.
But that's why I say, like, seeing some of these obscure sites that then later on you read something by Bruce where he's put together a couple more pieces of the puzzle, and then you take some professors and theorists that, hey, if we were to send a probe, how would we go about it?
Well, remember that really interesting binary code image that we had sent out there in a signal, and then all of a sudden there's a crop circle that appeared with a different binary code answering the question that we asked, and then had basically like an emoji of an alien where we had an emoji of a human being.
What?
I don't know if we could. It's whatever. But,
sweet Jesus.
But we transmitted that binary code out into the universe for years and years and years. I don't know how long. And then this crop circle shows up, and it's that image in binary code printed into the crop circle
from the probes.
Right.
The alien probe is like, hey,
AI
we got your
probe.
message.
Yep.
We'll cut it into your
that's
wheat
what
or
grays
corn.
are. I think grays are drones of some kind.
That's a very
biological drones. They have
real
no genitals.
possibility.
They have no mouth. They have no reason to communicate, eat. I mean, they're skinny as hell. Look like they ain't had a slice of bacon ever in their whole life. Big giant eyes, huge brains.
slice of bacon.
No reason to
Maybe
go to
it's not
Pound Town
kosher. I don't know.
because they're just made in a lab.
Jesus.
Alien
Pound Town.
Okay, we've digressed.
That's not real.
There is no Pound Town because
over the line, Walter. Yeah, it's true. That's
they're
true.
created probably, in some kind of a, giant laboratory or something. Yeah, like Matrix style. Anyways, back on track.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry about that.
I don't know if this is the last one. I think it might be, though. Let me look at the last one. That's probably...
Keanu.
Yeah, this is it. Keanu Reeves, deepfake digital face edits, artificial intelligence are a system of control and manipulation. This comes from Breitbart and Alana Mastrangelo. I can't say that very well. February 16th. So I'm going to summarize this article as well, but basically Keanu Reeves says deepfake digital face edits are scary and confirmed that his film contracts ban digital edits to his acting. Quote, it's a system of control and manipulation, the actor said of AI technology. And his basic frustration, he said, boils down to you lose your agency. When you give a performance in a film, you know you're going to be edited, but you're not anticipating it, but you're not participating in that. If you go into deepfake land, it has none of your points of view. Mm-hmm. So basically, what happened was he was on a film in the 90s, and they added a tear to his face. In the edit.
Because he couldn't cry, or
they just thought it would be better. They thought it would come
in the scene.
Yeah,
wow.
And he was just
was that like Point Break or something? I
don't know, but he basically said, "I don't even have to be here."
Right,
and that's kind of what I'm taking from all of this is like, he kind of goes into we're not going to know what's real or not real to a certain sense. We have AI music being made in the style of Nirvana already. We have digital art and. He says there's a corporatocracy behind it.
Yeah.
That's looking to control those things. Basically, even the Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford that's going to come out, like the way they digitize him now and like can overlay, it's even better than it used to be. So they're getting better and better and better and better.
Right.
Like they took what's his name, Ahmad Rashad, the other day. In this video, I don't know who the tech company was presenting it, but basically they scanned Ahmad Rashad, and then they were like, which player do you want to be on the court? And it was a real NBA game. And then they took Ahmad Rashad, and they put him over the NBA player, and it literally looked like Ahmad Rashad was out there in a pair of jeans and like a track jacket, like dunking. Like just slamming it home. Like that's what he's talking about with that AI. And then it also goes to the whole conspiracy of the Matrix in general, and are we in a computer simulation? Like, what is actually going on at that level? We have a bunch of mathematicians and scientists and physicists and a bunch of really smart people that sit there and go, we're not really sure if we're really here or if we're just experiencing it and, it's a simulation.
Right.
And that's... I don't know, maybe that comes from that whole thought of like once we start to actually have that, even from the movie itself, like I would have never thought that way before. Would you?
No. I mean, we read the holographic universe after the Matrix came out, right?
Correct.
We read the Michael Talbot's, the holograph. That's what really got me started thinking in those
That's what jump-started
ways
everything.
It really did, yeah.
In my
Michael
mind.
Talbot, the holographic universe, it's a very...
worthwhile read.
It's got... woo, but it's also I don't know how to describe that book. It talks about the that's the first time we heard about the thought crystals and the Japanese research that was done with Dr. Miyamoto.
Yeah.
And where they put a glass of water and you would walk by it, these group of people, and you would read love, you would read peace, you would read all these different things, and you would have like I hate you, and it would have all these horrible words and curse words, and then they would look at this crystalline structure of the water, and it would be ugly and murky on the one that said I hate you. And then so I don't know if any of that was actually ever real though.
The intention, you mean from what the bleep type thing? But yeah, I mean that sure with Talbot's books, some of that could have been woo. For certain. I mean, he talks about a lot of different cases.
But that opened up our doors big time.
Well, that had everything in that book.
Yeah,
that had time slips of people walking along and then stepping into like Victorian times and like Marie Antoinette and all this weird stuff happening. That, where am I? What just happened? Like a rift.
Yeah.
Or he had a lot of near-death experiences where patient, you know, for all intents and purposes, dies on the table and their spirit is floating out of their body.
And they're seeing
Not just that,
themselves.
the one lady floated out of her body, a floor up in the hospital, and when she was floating, she floated out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. But as she's like floating out, she's looking behind this radiator and sees this shoe.
Yeah.
So she's sucked back into her body. And then she comes awake and she's like freaking out, like, you know, gets back to her room and she's stable. And she tells her nurse or whoever it was that was taking care of her, she was like, go upstairs, go to this room that is just above mine or over here, wherever, because they, you know, coding a patient in the room is not uncommon.
Right.
Go upstairs, go behind this radiator and see if there's a shoe back there. Like, I need to know if I'm crazy, if this really happened, what have you. And sure enough, when they went up there, right there's that shoe.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Robert Bigelow, again, I'll bring him back up. He is very interested in this phenomena. He has offered up $1 million prizes
sure
for
has.
essays on the best proof of a near-death experience or an NDE.
Yep.
But yeah, in the holographic universe, it's just... And just the way that they talk about the mind and the brain and how do things work. And a hologram, the concept is a piece of the picture contains the whole picture.
Right. And a bunch of little fractals make up. And now we're understanding.
And it goes into the we, and we are a piece of the
yeah.
picture. And then the whole statement the other week I said of like, we have to
DMT
be here
world.
to view the universe, to give it existence. Mm-hmm. In a way, that might sound conceited, but maybe not humans, but something
And that's what
has to be
a lot of people experience when they do DMT and some of those psychedelics is that fractalization of, you know, essentially blasting apart where you really do, you see that these tiny little pieces make up the whole, but they're all representative and part of the same thing.
You're kind of seeing the matrix
It's
at that
little,
level, right?
It's like shards of glass, right?
I don't know.
So you have the hologram is like a sheet of, it's like a mirror or, and then once you break up that mirror and you shatter it, you're still seeing yourself in each piece of,
I see what you're saying.
of the reflection back to you. So,
you brought some holocult with you.
Yeah.
Not saying I don't appreciate it, but Mikey's been crushing it lately. They're going into the chats. We appreciate it, Gypsy Jenny.
hey, Gypsy Jenny, what's happening?
I love the name, and she did the Spock.
Yes. Live long
Dig
and
it.
prosper.
Yeah.
The Hollow Cult. What a great bunch of people those folks are.
Necro's first Inquirer cover I saw was a baby born with antlers.
Dude, I remember those going to the in the checkout line
Always.
the grocery store with your mom when you're a little
Always.
kid, like trying to get that Snickers bar, looking at weird, like, you know, had a Bigfoot as a baby or whatever the headline was.
There was a lot of
Stoner's
stuff in
Dad,
there.
peace to you
Yes.
as well, sir.
Love it.
But, you know, some Hollow Cult folks, I do apologize for cursing the other night on the Hollow Skies call-in show. I was a bit fired up, said a lot of inappropriate words. So if there's anybody that's... we don't do that on here, but I was a little upset and a bit fired up that night when I called in. So...
Did you sound like Bill O'Reilly that
I was
time?
just ranting. I was just... And I said, wow, that was... but that was fun. We had a good time. I couldn't get the number, couldn't call into the number. It was busy the one time, and then they were, you know, it's like, call back, or Kyle, call him back. And then I finally got through, and we had a nice chat. But mainly it was me just ranting about. But hey, I wanted to actually, if we have time, cover this. Maybe we do. We don't have to watch the video, but I wanted to just bring up Elijah Schaefer, this Twitter feed that I found. You know, it appears that 3 months ago, getting back to East Palestine.
Yeah.
I totally spaced on this, but
This is good.
you know,
It's all right. Full
3
circle.
months ago, basically they had a pilot program to respond to emergency situations. They gave digital IDs for free. They just love those digital IDs, don't they?
Who doesn't
Just
love a digital
those
ID? You
digital
get one, I
IDs.
get
It gets
one.
to, hey, we're just going to track everything, all your biorhythms. It's great data.
Oh, that's a little deeper
Wonderful
than
data.
digital ID, right?
Well, it tracks
what it does?
health problems,
Oh, geez.
like difficulty breathing is one of them. Let's just watch that video, Kyle. I'm giving you a hard roll on that.
Columbiana County coverage
you.
now, and East Palestine is known as the place to be. It's way ahead of the curve on a program to provide better treatment for anyone in the event of an emergency. I learned how it works and how it could help everyone in East Palestine.
Get out. This is real?
My ID provides quick medical information for emergency responders. Darlene Chapman is the outreach coordinator for this project, and she's an EMT.
If they're in a situation where they can't tell us or they don't have any family around, this is something that would make my life easier.
My ID works by taking a camera phone and pointing it at a QR code. It provides valuable medical information such as allergies, breathing difficulties, or other conditions, so you get proper treatment and care.
If anybody sees the QR code, you'll be able to scan this and get the information. So it helps that person not necessarily just here, but anywhere in the nation.
There are a few options for My ID: a bracelet, key fob, necklace, or attachment on your watch band.
Oh, it's so cute.
You can choose the one which fits your lifestyle best. That's up to you. Orders will start in January. The fire department has already collected $5,000 in donations to help.
That's our ultimate goal. We want to be able to
China
give this
loves digital IDs
for
too.
free to the citizens
They love
and provide
it.
them with that extra
CCP.
layer of care so that we can better treat them.
The offer includes Unity Township, which is served by the East Palestine Fire Department. These items cost around $20 each. You can even buy it for yourself. The fire department is hoping you'll be willing to wear it.
My goal is to have 100% of our residents and the citizens we serve in the township
3 months ago
to have one of these and be working with them to make sure that we can treat them better and provide the best service that we can.
All right.
There's a 3-year plan to get My ID going across the village and make it available to all 4,700 residents.
Okay, I thought he was going to say the U.S. Jehoshaphat.
Pretty strange that East Palestine was one of the places, and I wanted to bring up Ronin Arts and Music. I did. That was one of the things that I wanted to bring up that I forgot to. Thank you for reminding me.
Ronin's on it.
The CDC has changed the toxicology profile of vinyl chloride from 100 ppm, which I don't know what that
parts
is.
per milligram?
Parts per million, probably.
Per million,
to 100,000 parts per million.
Is that 100,000 or a million?
BP
How many
did
zeros
a
is
similar
that? That's a
thing.
million.
Okay.
That's a million, isn't it? I need zero count. I can't see that far. Is that
That's
6 or 5?
100,000.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I remember reading that earlier. So yeah, the exposure level, which is just raising the ceiling for, and that's why the EPA is like, hey, everything's good to go. Let's return everything back to normal. Meanwhile, it's not. Now, similar thing was done. It reminds me of BP, the big oil spill in the Gulf. Funny story about that. We're heading to Bonnaroo.
Oh.
And we drove all the way through the night, and we're trying to get there in the morning so we could, because back then the lines were super, super long on the highway to get into the festival. And so our buddy was like in full protest when the BP oil spill happened. The only gas station was BP.
Oh, God.
He's like, I ain't going to BP. So great. Go ahead. Never gets gas.
Who?
So
tell me later. 'Cause I need to.
We get in this long
wanna
line,
get stuck.
and we're there hours on the highway. He's like, bro, I need gas. Like, there's no way I'm going to make it. So we totally lost our friend getting into Rue that year. He was literally on the other side of the festival. Luckily, we did camping only, but totally just lost. He had to go and get gas, all because of BP that summer.
You got to stand your ground sometimes,
but BP
Walter.
did the same thing. They
you are.
raised, definitely. Starting to get uncalm right now talking about this stuff. I feel like I'm going to start dropping the F-bomb again. But this is what they do. They this is what they do. They raise the bar. They move the bar. You know what I mean? This
Move
is
the
now
goalpost,
This
yeah.
is now acceptable.
Yeah.
John Thorne is a bruschetta guy as well.
Hey, that's cool.
Hey,
Not
dude.
trying to knock it.
No, not at
Get
all.
inky.
I love the comments right now.
So what I was gonna say is I don't believe that video is real. I'm not saying it's not real. What I'm saying is I can't believe it's real.
That 3 months ago they were trying to get these
Let's say
health bands, these digital IDs that monitor your breathing.
I'm saying this right now. That's like going to the canary in the coal mine if it was like Tweety Bird and saying like, hey, buddy, you just stay down here.
That's bringing the coal mine to the canary, sir.
Well, it is, but what I'm saying is somebody comes up into Columbus here and starts putting out a citywide effort or a whatever county you live in effort of I'm moving.
Right.
That's like just announcing we're coming to mess you up.
Right.
In hindsight.
Right.
Now that that's happened.
Well, here's the thing, and we talked a little bit about this. Isn't it funny that 3 Mile Island, the story about 3 Mile Island, there was a movie done about 3 Mile Island having a nuclear meltdown and something happening to 3 Mile Island. There's a film made the year that happened, right before, and it came out in theaters like a month before. I mean, these coincidences are just unbelievable. And
Can we call them coincidences
they're running
anymore?
Tests. Whatever disaster it is, it always seems like there's some military exercise happening just right around the corner. Hey, we're all here. Just so happens we're running this exercise. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into the conspiracy rabbit hole, but
we were running an exercise around the Nord Stream pipeline.
Boom.
We were running an exercise. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You remember that film? What they try to do to detract people from going to Devil's Tower is they start spraying chemicals, and I think they throw out like a couple, not a couple, but like they throw diseased animals all over the roads and stuff, and they tell everybody the air's unclean. And Richard Dreyfuss and that blonde lady are both wearing the gas mask. I'm trying to say face mask, gas mask.
We were just talking about this, Ronan.
Oh yeah, white noise.
White noise. We were just talking about the same exact thing. And I haven't watched White. You said you watched it.
I watched part of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I caught the idea of it. And then when I saw the references, like,
what was the idea again? Just to refresh my
memory. I said
memory.
Basically the same thing. What he's saying.
I can't read.
Train derailment, a toxic train derailment in Ohio. That is the premise.
Right. Oh, dude, I need to watch that.
White noise. This gas.
Like a white fog.
Yeah.
Chickens, foxes, fish.
How mad would you be?
I mean, but you're helpless. What do? You can join a class action lawsuit, but no one's being held accountable.
But I think we said it last week. We don't know what to do to help, but if we can help in any way, let us know. If anybody from that area,
we're just trying to raise some awareness,
help support it,
and these guys are on it.
Whatever we could do to support it.
We really appreciate you guys, informing us too, sending us links. This Psychedelic Bodegas sent me some stuff here recently. Been keeping up to date. We've been listening to other shows, Kill the Mockingbirds. And they've had some. Those guys have been on the East Palestine. So, everybody's kind of
it's on the
doing
radar.
their part.
Yeah.
And those guys are from Ohio, so much love to all those folks down there. And
absolutely.
And this on a positive note. I think we had a good show. Is that all the articles we were looking at? Or do we have any more?
That's it.
That's all of them.
That's it. We're at an hour. That's pretty good.
We are at an hour.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we carried it along. That's why I said the first article was pretty deep and had a lot in it. So I was trying not to get too many.
I'm glad I remembered that strange program with the digital IDs and which got us into the white noise and all these things. So we literally just were talking about this earlier today, so we appreciate.
I just
the heck
can't
out of you
fathom
guys.
it. I still can't fathom it.
It's gonna get. The thing is it's like anything else. It's just gonna go away. Unfortunately,
you think?
Yeah. I mean,
right under the rug, just sweep her away.
Right. It's kind of like Ukraine. It goes away, it comes back when there's something big. But these kind of things, it'll just go away, unfortunately.
It's called Duckworth. Have them take care of it.
But
actually, that'd be Mrs. Beakley. She was the housekeeper.
But it just reminds me a lot, and I ranted about this a little bit on the Hollow Skies Night Shift episode. But our friend got me on a documentary in Southern Ohio.
Yeah.
And it was originally the Pike County Piketon murders, where the family was murdered execution style. And then as this documentary filmmaker that hired me to help out with some camera stuff, as she was kind of digging into this town and Waverly in the county, uncovers essentially a plan to convert the plutonium factory that produced all the plutonium for the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs.
Yeah.
Which was in operation for a long time. The plant's now been defunct for a long time.
Okay.
But their plan was to create a toxic waste dump at the site of the plutonium factory because the walls, the bricks, the wiring, everything is irradiated. So it's a dead zone. This area has tons of ancient earthworks and mounds and tons of history. It's right there on the Scioto River.
Of course there's nothing there, that's why.
And it's protecting a lot of the stuff that they were trying to do, which I can share a little bit. But, you know, as we were down there, eventually, like I said, it went from this murder mystery into just shady shit that was going on down there. And you had government agencies of Ohio, corporations working together to
hand in hand
essentially try to get this project, huge construction project, turning this plant into a toxic waste dump. The folks that live in that county and town were like, whoa, 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 we're doing what now?
Right.
We already have huge high cancer rates down there. You know, I mentioned in the Hollow Sky show that they have the subway there. Right next to it is the plutonium factory workers medical facility. It's a clinic that the plutonium industry pays for because everybody's got cancer.
Oh, God.
And so instead of them needing insurance and all this health care, they literally pay for it all from this clinic right there. And this factory's been closed forever, dude. You know, there's a high school stud quarterback went to go on to play college within his first year, died of a really rare bone cancer. He lived less than a mile from the plutonium. So it's bad enough this plutonium factory's there, and these folks are...
Might as well just dump it all there.
Well, that's where the heroin and the pills were hit really, really hard in that area.
Maybe that's
Southern
another...
Ohio. So it's just...
Maybe that's another try to get them out of there.
It's the Arc of Appalachia. It's just,
kill them with opioids or irradiate them until they're glowing.
Well, and it's just,
you know,
the agencies, and I said something along the lines of it's kind of like a Stranger Things situation where,
sure,
you know, you have these kind of secretive, like,
sure,
you think environmental protection. Well, they're there to protect the environment. Well, not necessarily. Those organizations, a lot of times, are there to facilitate, and I won't say cover up, but allow things to bureaucratically move when you have something like a plutonium factory
somebody
turned
slips
into
you,
a toxic waste dump.
Somebody slips you a little bit of money.
Well,
let's talk a lot of money, right?
Well,
somebody slips you that, and then you go,
bingo, and,
cool, we can sign off here,
right? And so the surveys that they did if the bedrock had too many cracks in it, of course, that irradiated material is going to leak down into the bedrock through the cracks into what? The water system, the Scioto, the Ohio, the Mississippi, down into the Gulf, where the entire water system of the east coast and south of the United States is now irradiated water because of this plutonium factory and toxic waste dump here in Ohio.
What do they care?
So it's like, there's the cracks. They're not that bad, actually. Yeah, it's totally safe. They're like, whoa, we should get a second opinion, yeah? And like, no, don't worry about it. I have all these town hall meetings. I'm sitting there shooting all this stuff. You know, guys coming up to me, kind of pushing their way in, trying to get information. Really weird situations, just like the people that were surrounding all that.
Yeah. You could feel the weirdness.
Yeah, for sure. And so the second opinion, they paid this company to survey the bedrock again. It's like, whoa, are you kidding me? Not only are there thousands of cracks in the bedrock, but in no way, shape, or form is this safe at all. 100%. All of this irradiated material is going to end up in the water, is going to end up in the rivers and in the water tables. And so I don't know where this all left off. This was a few years back. But, you know, she went down there trying to cover this murder, and it just uncovers so many other things.
It's always about money.
And I think a big reason why the plutonium factory ended up not getting put in is because right on that property and around the surrounding areas, they found really ancient geometric earthworks that were astronomically aligned, that were very special. So there's kind of like this archaeological protection that they are using to be able to
keep that a safe space.
Keep this thing from project from not getting done. So this is what we're dealing with here in Ohio.
Maybe that's what happened to the
like,
ancients.
bro.
You know, maybe the ancients did the same thing. They had all these sweet
They
temples
blasted
and
themselves.
pyramids and did the same thing. Like,
Right.
just, I don't
Profits
know.
over people, man.
I mean, it's just bizarre. It's really bizarre, but the money talks, man.
Yep.
Money talks.
We appreciate the heck out of all you guys in the chat. This has been really fun. Sorry, I just went on another rant there.
Get at it.
But it's just something I haven't, really expressed publicly about some of that stuff. You
Yeah.
know, when we do shoots, you meet some really interesting people.
Yeah.
Out
Kind of
on
help unlock
projects.
some things for you. And
Yeah.
Connect the dots.
And so when all this came up, it just flooded back to that time when we were working on this documentary. It's just like, boom, here we go again.
Yeah.
But
It's like deja vu.
right. So what we all covered today, we covered, you know what?
Yeah, go for it.
We can we can talk about this weekend. We have something kind of big happening this weekend.
There you go.
Yeah, you want to talk? We can talk
You
about
go
that.
for it.
So we have Joel Thomas from Kill the Mockingbirds on. We'll be streaming this Saturday. We're still working out the times, but you guys will know all of that. We're super excited. I talked to Joel on the phone last week a bit, trying to get kind of prepped, see what we want to all chat about. And Joel's got some big news that he's going to share with us.
Oh, cool.
And if he hasn't shared it publicly, keep an ear out. We'd love to have you guys on. It's going to be Saturday evening, more Saturday night.
It's a little bit of a
and-
curveball, but he's going to be in studio as well.
I was just going to say.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Thanks for reminding me, because we are having Joel, and we've been doing a lot of great virtual guests. We had Hollow Sky, Appalachian Intelligence. We've had VJ, Amel. We're going to get back to, I think Tom or Ross might have been the last.
Tom's the last in person.
Tom was the last in-person guest.
Tom's definitely last in
So
person.
we're going to have a blast. We're going to have a heck of a time. Joel's a super interesting dude.
I think it's good it's going to be Saturday night.
Yeah.
I might sleep on the couch.
We're going to get loose.
down here or
Have a
or
fun.
on the
We're gonna get
beanbag
loose.
chair. I
Yep.
don't know if I'll make it home.
But we'll be looking forward to that, and hopefully you guys join us. But as always, like the video, hit subscribe. Most of you guys are subscribed.
Absolutely.
Those of you listening, we appreciate the heck out of you.
We do.
Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you're listening. Again, please rate us 5 stars or bust.
Yeah. Leave a review.
And you can follow us all of our social medias at The Strange Road. Bub's on Twitter at The Strange Road. He handles our Twitter account. And guess what? We've got a brand new TikTok account, everybody.
We do.
And the Wizard Stoner has put his mental force behind our Twitter account. And we're getting some traction.
Yeah.
I think we've got, I don't know how many videos, 6 or 7, but I think we broke 2,000 views.
I think his TikTok
Already.
I think his TikTok account came with like a Wiccan guide to like turning your TikTok into fire overnight.
Right.
He was like, "Do you want to race to 1,000 on Twitter?" And I was like, "Hell no!"
oh, dude.
Like, man, I'm
It's going to scorch you.
I'm hoeing a deep row here. I'm not like getting very far, and I'm not. That's not what it's about. Well, at a certain level, you do kind of want to see that people are getting your message.
Did
or
you
that
just
it's holding
say
weight.
hoe in a deep row?
Yeah, it's a hard row to hoe.
Great line.
Yeah, have you ever heard that one? It's a tough row to hoe.
I've heard it, and just not the way that you said. It kind of hurt my head a little bit. It's like, dude, God.
But yeah,
Okay, add that.
you know what else I was gonna say?
Yeah.
Crazy milestone. Mm-hmm. The 5,000 download episode mark. I
We're
think
getting
is gonna
close
fall
to
this month.
5,000 downloads all time.
If
Now we
we-
did about 4,500 the last 2.5 months.
Yeah, we've gone from
We
0
did
to like
500 the first 2 years and about 4,500 the last 2 months. So
we look like Poe and Kung Fu Panda with the rocket chair. We just lit it, and first we slammed into the wall, and then went straight up, and then straight down, and then say, it's fun to see it. It's again, I say it a lot because I'm looking at numbers a lot, and I know that I wear you out with it sometimes. But to me, that's the way you see growth, and looking at it at a microscopic level or at a macroscopic level, you can see different things, and it's just fun. And again, it's always encouraging that we do have an audience that we're very appreciative of. That you guys do come in here, you
Yes.
interact, you throw us a bone with, hey, check out this article,
Yeah.
look into this person,
Love it.
check out this
They're the
YouTube
best.
channel, listen to this podcast. When we get time to do all that, we really do, and we appreciate it.
got a question. Where can we buy a hoodie? That is coming.
That's
very
a great
We're working
question.
on that. These were kind of a test before CryptidCon. We got a bunch of these, and honestly, we handed most of them out and the hats.
But these were kind of the trial runs.
Yeah,
too.
and I didn't care for, although I wasn't totally sold on the way they turned out. But we've got some things cooking with some merch and some hats, hoodies, T-shirts, stickers. We're gonna do a reorder on some stickers, but
when those come out, those links, I think we'll be able to put them on our Instagram and socials, so you'll be able to get to our actual items that we're going to have up and available with the Strange Road logo. And Kyle and I were playing around with it the other night, looking at some designs. It looks really cool.
Fun. It's fun.
Yeah, we're excited about it because I want one too.
Yeah,
I want a hat, I want a shirt, I want a hoodie.
Some zip ups, some designs.
Yep, I need some swag. And how about... Were you gonna say, or were we gonna talk about it later?
What?
The
There is no later.
Well,
or you mean off air? Huh? Oh yeah. So we are gonna be at Frogman Fest coming up, and actually that reminded me as well of something else.
Yeah.
Frogman Fest is right around the corner. We're gonna be helping Jeff and the fellas, Jeff and John, with some AV work. So we'll be out there. If you guys are out there, come hit us up. Come say hi. We're not exactly sure where we're going to be, but if you guys are going to Frogman Fest,
come say hi.
Come say hi. We're going to be out there chilling, helping with some visuals, some audio.
Yep.
And, I think once we get it dialed in, we'll be able to kind of hang out and chat with some people.
Absolutely.
And I know there was one other thing that's slipping my mind that we have coming up here shortly. Maybe that will remind me. Yeah. Well,
we'll put it in the next episode.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I know what it was.
Go ahead.
So the DVDs.
Go ahead.
So we did the Serpent Mountain Impact Crater Tour DVD with Thomas Johnson. It's up on our YouTube channel. The collector's DVDs are at for sale right now.
Go ahead.
At the House of Fake Ops, Alternate Universe House of Fake Ops Rock Shop. You guys can find that in the description of Tom's video, the mini documentary.
Yeah.
You can find the address if you guys want to take a trip to Serpent Mound. Go see those guys. They have an event coming up, the Spring Equinox event. Right. Go check out the Facebook group.
Grab
Serpent
a copy of that DVD.
Star Knowledge. You could grab a copy of the DVD out at their event. Head to the Rock Shop if you're in the Serpent Mound area or want to go to Serpent Mound. It's a great spot. Tom will tell you all the cool places to go. Grab yourself a collector's DVD. We'll probably have a few copies out at Frogman Fest. So if anybody's interested for those, we'll have some with us.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But collector's DVD,
25 minutes, 20 minutes, somewhere around there.
Yep.
With edit.
Yep.
That's great. Cool.
And I'm glad you reminded me of that. And
absolutely.
We got to talk about the DVD.
Yeah.
And
so till Saturday.
Yep.
Till our next live stream, we'll still have an episode coming out Thursday, and then Saturday do the live stream.
Yep. And we're trying to work out something with D.A. Roberts. And come on DA's Ex Machina podcast.
That would be so much fun.
Trying to work that out. So if you have any DA fans, look out for the Strange Road.
DA's awesome.
Coming on DA's show.
Yeah.
We had him on one of the
very first
best guests.
Yeah.
I think DA's the heavyweight champion of the world.
He is.
In the
rankings, he is. By all numerical
Much love
stature.
to DA. We're signing off. What do you say, Bub? Any last words?
I'm hungry. I'm good.
All right. Well,
I'm hungry.
Let's go eat. You guys go eat. We had a blast. This was a great one.
Take
all
care,
you guys
everybody.
in the chat, take care. Peace.